Sorry, just a second. I am updating my dating profile to make it mask for mask. I'd just like to dedicate this video today to all of the trans masculine people watching. Hi, I'm Jackson Bird, and I just recently passed 6 years on testosterone, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. You know, not too many changes have happened as a result of T for the past year or so. 5 years tends to kind of be when things like mellow out. But you may have noticed my beard is finally filling out more. I trimmed it the other day, so it's harder to tell. I still can't grow hair on my chin, weirdly, but it keeps edging up ever higher, getting a little thicker. So, you know, it's happening slowly but surely. And honestly, the biggest change was lockdown. You know, since no one was gonna see me up close for a while, I decided at the start of lockdown last year to see how much I could grow my mustache. Turns out I kinda can, little. But between the mustache and the thicker beard and growing my hair out, which is, you're not really sure what to do with it yet. I think I need to learn what product to put in this hair. If anyone knows what kind of product to use for like this kind of hair to just make it look not awful most of the time, let me know in the comments. But anyways, yeah, the hair and the mustache and the kind of more apparent beard, and not to mention the wrinkles that appeared on my forehead seemingly overnight on my 30th birthday, I feel like I am finally looking closer to my age. A little bit ago, I posted this comparison shot on Instagram, which no, is not like 1 year on T versus 6. That's me the first day of lockdown last year versus March of this year. Lockdown aged me a lot. And apart from aging, I also think that those physical changes have made me look a bit more masculine. I mean, I didn't get misgendered too much after a couple of years on T anyways, but I figure facial hair like this makes my maleness pretty undeniable to people who make assumptions of other people's gender based on initial appearances anyways. And yet, I have gotten misgendered so much more than usual this past year. And why is that? This simple piece of fabric that blocks every hint of my crowning achievement of the last year. When this mask is on, I'm no longer a scruffy dude with grown out pandemic hair. No, in some people's eyes, my short, stocky stature and swoopy hair, not to mention my admittedly captivating big blue eyes that you can't see behind the glasses fog, all of that gets misinterpreted into a slew of ma'ams and ladies. Misgendering always feels rotten. It's an interruption to my day, it's a shock to my system, a jolt of self-consciousness that makes me doubt what I'm wearing, how I was holding myself, how I was speaking. It makes me feel like ever being perceived as and respected as the guy I am is just a futile endeavor. And if I'm around people that I know when it happens, it's super embarrassing. It makes me feel like less of a man, like my transness is on full display. And it's been especially frustrating now that I feel like I've got this silver bullet, you know? Like the kind of person who still greets people with gendered language is not gonna see a beard and a mustache and call me ma'am. And yet, I have not gotten to reap the rewards of this because every situation in which that may have happened over the past year, I've been wearing a mask. And it's also frustrating because I don't want a reason to dislike masks. You know, wearing a mask and following other preventative measures has meant that I am currently going the longest in my life that I have ever not caught a cold. And I like knowing that I'm doing my part to protect others and show that I am courteous and I care about other people's health and well-being. Not to mention, in the wintertime, it kept my face nice and warm, and the humidity that you create, like breathing into it, has been great for my congestion. And if I haven't trimmed my mustache or if I have a pimple, no one sees it. Masks can be great. I usually like to stick to more neutral masks like this one, but you know, when I'm in a fun mood, sometimes I pull out these Avengers masks or this E.T. mask that my friend Joy made me, or my friend Kylie made me this Halloween mask. It's super cool to have these objects that were like lovingly made by my friends during this time. So I like masks. And listen, I'm vaccinated now, and I know that mask wearing is starting to decline, but also, a lot of private businesses are going to continue requiring them. Large gatherings, airplanes, like they're not going away completely. And to be honest, like I will probably keep wearing a mask in certain cases, like when I'm on the subway during flu season. In general, I think it's high time more cultures adopted mask wearing for public health. And here's the thing, like I really do look forward to mask wearing easing up a bit, but the exact situations where I most want mask wearing to end, the situations in which I am interacting with strangers who might misgender me, like inside a store or a bank. Those are the situations in which mask wearing will keep going the longest. But, just as a reassurance for any other trans guys or trans masculine folks experiencing this, it has happened to my cis guy friends as well. One of my friends in particular, who is about the same size as me with a similar hair and beard style at the moment, has been getting misgendered relentlessly whenever he wears a mask. So as crushing as it is to feel like the mask is invalidating you or outing you as trans or just some unique trans experience you wish you didn't have to go through, just know that it's happening to some cis dudes as well. And that doesn't make it all better, but I don't know, it made me feel like a little bit better. And also, I have heard from some trans women and trans feminine people that masks have been great for them. Like some who might feel more dysphoric about their jawlines or other parts of the lower halves of their faces. It's been really great to have a cloth covering that moves focus just to their eyes, where maybe they put some nice eye makeup on. This is obviously only applicable to some trans feminine folks depending on their particular relationship to their body and gender and style and where they're at in transitioning either by choice or by circumstance. But I thought it was kind of funny that once again, some trans femme folks and trans mask folks were having equal but opposite experiences. And of course, even my experience as a trans guy here is kind of unique. Some trans guys and trans masculine people get just as misgendered without masks on as they do with them on. And some have enough other markers of masculinity that the mask doesn't affect strangers' assumptions. But for any of you that may be facing the same challenge as me, here are a few tips. First, this whole thing is predicated on you being someone who is bothered by being misgendered and who does certain things at least some of the time to lean into binary gender expressions in order to be read as the gender that you are. That is not every trans person's preference or reality, and that's okay. But if that is you, and if you do have any facial hair or sideburns, I've found that trying to arrange my mask so that some of that is showing can really help. Now, this was easier before I trimmed my beard back down the other day, and it's probably not like the safest way to wear a mask or the most effective, I don't know. But so I kind of, if I've got the accordion style mask, I make sure it's mostly still folded up, put it on, and then you've got a little bit of beard maybe showing down here or over here. And if you've got a smaller head, you can also maybe try getting a smaller size mask or like a kid size mask. And if you do have any of the like facial hair or sideburns happening over here, try finding an excuse to turn your head at the beginning of interactions with cashiers or whomever so they kind of see that to begin with. And if you have a deeper voice or have done vocal training, I mean, this is just my go-to with any misgendering, mask or not, but reply to their ma'am with just like the deepest voice that you can. Or better yet, preempt their greeting so they don't even get a ma'am in there. Like I try to channel my inner Ted Lasso and be overly friendly, so I'm saying hi there to a cashier before I've even fully arrived at the till. That way, they hear my deeper voice before making any of their own assumptions. And if they do misgender you, your response to the situation can really help. Now, I find this tough to do in the moment, personally, but try to imagine how a cis dude would reply to being misgendered. I mean, he'd probably be like confused, maybe kind of laugh it off, be like, wait, me? Just any kind of confusion where you think it's more funny than a big deal, and that way the other person will fully believe that they just made a mistake. I've found that if you kind of correct them in a more forceful, like, my pronouns are he, him kind of way, that's more likely to out you as trans, which maybe you want to do. It could be a great learning opportunity if you've got the capacity for that in that moment. I usually don't. I usually just want to end the interaction as soon as possible without bringing more attention to myself than I already have. Which typically, means trying to pass as cis. Now, if you are present for a trans friend being misgendered, but it's not happening to you, here are some tips on how to be an ally in that moment. First, if you're able to ask your friend ahead of time what their preference is for intervening or not and how to do so, that is ideal. Because they may really strongly want your help or really strongly want you to drop it and not engage. Or they may not be sure. Like, I've had friends ask me and I haven't been able to give them a good answer because I'm not sure, and mostly I think it depends on the situation. For example, is this happening totally in passing? Like a cashier at the grocery store where you can just grit your teeth and be done with it in a couple of minutes? Or is this a server at a restaurant that you're gonna continue interacting with for the next hour? If the former, my preference is to probably just drop it. Like, I might try to employ the shocked and amused method, or more often, I pretend I didn't hear them and then just reply with a deep voice and ride the wave from there. So yeah, in that quick interaction case, I'd say I don't need a friend to intervene, we'll just let it go. But if it's, for example, a server at a restaurant, I might like some help. And what I have found works better than a friend explicitly advocating for me and saying like, excuse me, he's a man, is to instead find some excuse to refer to me more casually. So I explained this to a friend once and she did it beautifully the next day. Like I said, this misgendering thing is happening a lot lately. So we were at the hardware store making copies of keys, and the worker at the key machine, I think, called us ladies or something. And we were gonna be standing there with the worker for a while copying the keys, so my friend started making conversation and found a way to work in, oh yeah, he was trying to convince me to get the Star Wars design. And as she said that, she like gestured at me. And there was maybe half a second look of recognition in the worker's eyes, but nothing else was said, and we weren't ladies or ma'amed again. And to me, that was the perfect non-confrontational method. Now that may not be how all trans people prefer to be handled, and again, it depends on the situation and maybe how over the top the misgendering was, so that's why it's important to ask your friend privately if this is a situation that has come up before and you weren't sure how to be an ally. And hey, my dudes, if all else fails during this mask-wearing era, you can always get a mask with a mustache on it. I don't know, that actually might make it worse, just kind of weird. I don't know, also this mask is like way too big for me. But yeah, let me know in the comments some of your tips for handling moments of strangers misgendering you or your friends, and if you want more from me, you can subscribe and hit that bell to be notified of new videos. You can watch all my old videos on transitioning and other topics, and also I wrote a whole book about figuring my gender out, which you can buy or get from your local library. And if you'd like to hear more from me on non-trans topics, I host a daily podcast called the Kottke Ride Home about all the coolest, most interesting things that happen in the world each day. You can listen to that wherever you get podcasts. But that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck out there, and I'll see you next time.